Hello everybody, I'm Clayton.
And I'm Darren.
And we've gone kayaking. I say we, it's not me again, it's Darren, and it's Dave, and it's Nessie, and it's Flacker. A big crew for this one on a day trip to the Isle of Wight, round to the Needles, couple of stops, one there, one back. What a trip.
Indeed, we went across to the Needles. Well, the plan was actually to explore the north coast of the Isle of Wight as we go. We knew there was a little bit of swell coming in from the south, which we didn't see in the Solent, so we wanted to have a look at that before we make the move around the Needles.
And that's a fabulous shot. Look at all four of you ready to go, but look at the weather. What a day.
It was a great day. You can see there's a bit of cloud hanging around over the Isle of Wight, so we're following the compass across there. You can't actually see Colwell, which was the destination. We just followed straight south out of Lymington. It takes us just east of Colwell.
How important then is having a compass? Obviously, when you can't see where you're going, it is, but just generally something you want to have on your kayak.
It's worth having. I mean, certainly this one was a clip-on extra one, but this day we knew there was a lot of low clouds, so we were going to use it, and you'll see later in this video, but on the way back it became quite essential. Not to mention this guy, actually, we came across, there was no one on watch at all, so we had to slow down so he didn't hit us.
Classic.
Nice.
So, start of the trip, getting out and getting across to Colwell. What were the conditions in terms of the tides and wind?
Tides were all very good. I mean, we left with the tide as it was close to the high, which meant we had the first part of the ebb tide to help us across there. Wind was very light.
And getting quite a good speed from that. So, little jaunt across to Colwell, and time for, oh my days, not again! Time for hot drinks in a glass. Not acceptable, Snow.
No, it works really well. What you need to do is get over that.
I just don't think I ever will. And I think everyone else would agree with me.
Unlikely.
It's true. So back out then from Colwell, a little coffee and a hot chocolate break, and then, oh hello, show off.
Yeah, buzz the natives, keep them on their toes.
Now, as you mentioned prior to us starting this video, that actually there's a few of the kayakers with not that many miles on the clock, and this trip you needed to make sure of a few things, didn't you, just so that it would be safe for them to go to have a look at the Needles.
Absolutely. So what we had, the crossing and this little trek along the north coast of the island, this was all very sheltered and very docile. What we wanted to do was, apart from this road rage incidents here.
What happened then?
There was the overtaking vehicle not giving way. Shocking.
My wife, what's she like?
Yeah. So as you can see, we're arriving here at Alum Bay. You've got the clouds being blown in from the south, and it's just creeping over the top of the cliffs, which is a spectacular view.
I've never seen that before. It looks amazing. Take someone's on board on watch for that one.
Yeah, this one they were. So what we do here, this is actually where I made the break. I went across to see what the conditions were like off the lighthouse before the others would follow me, because we knew we were coming out into the open water and there would be a bit more swell, a bit more turbulence, and with the tide by now ebbing quite quickly, there's good flow off the lighthouse there.
Now, you've given quite a berth around the lighthouse. Why is that?
Because there were actually the swell coming in from the south was breaking off the rocks just off the lighthouse.
It is quite treacherous around there if you're not careful, isn't it?
It can get really lively. It's definitely a place to watch all your conditions and plan it very carefully.
So you were satisfied it was safe for the rookies to go round?
Absolutely, they were all fine. So there wasn't a lot of breaking water once we were that far out, so that was fine.
And again, it seems to me every time we go past and come around there, it's always, the conditions always seem to be slightly different, never the same.
Very rarely the same. It does change a lot. A bit of wind, bit of current, and things can change very quickly, and it can get really quite a dangerous spot.
So dangerous, as you say, and you have to be very careful and planning your trip. Again, we can't stress enough how important it is to plan the trip. It's not just a case of, oh, do you know what, I fancy going to have a look at the Needles today because the sun's out. You can't do that. You have to plan your trip, don't you?
You do. The conversation that was going on at this point here, we had originally planned to stop and wait for the tide to turn here on Scratchwell's Bay, but with the swell coming in and some of the low flying hours of our party that day, made the decision to actually head back round to Alum Bay, where there was less chance of an undignified entry onto the bay. There was not huge, but there was a little bit of a swell coming onto the beach. It's quite a steep beach, so stopping there might have been a lively experience.
And is this a cave you're backing into?
It was the garage? No, it was the cave indeed.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's pretty cool. We've been there before at the low tide and without the swell, and it's much more relaxing. You can get in there. There's actually a beach at the back of the cave. You can get right out and have a good look. But on this particular day, with a little bit of tide still, there wasn't much headroom, and the swell meant that no one else was interested in going in there, which was probably wise.
Yeah, things to consider for that. Obviously, you're an experienced kayaker, and you were able to go in and come out again quite safely. But was it okay? I mean, nothing to worry about from your point of view?
From my point of view, no. But yeah, if you're a little bit nervous and you're likely to have a capsize when you're stuck in a cave and you can't really move your paddle freely, that could be quite unpleasant.
It's a word of warning, people. If you're not that experienced, and it looks nice, but just look at it from the outside. Don't go in. Coming back round the Needles again, Benny Hill moment, but a good opportunity just to see what was going on. Actually, the foghorn was going off as well, wasn't it?
Exactly. The foghorn's now going off because the cloud cover's come down even lower still. We can see the waves breaking off the rocks there, and you can see the tide flow against us quite clearly. So it was a bit of hard work to come back against the tide, but it did mean then we could make our landing and beach lunch stop on Alum Bay with complete shelter and completely calm, rather than trying to smash our way onto Scratchell's Bay and then launch again into the swell.
But once more, I mean, just you've gone out and the sun's around, and then suddenly the cloud comes in and things can change quite quickly, and you have to be aware of that, don't you?
You do, definitely. It's you'll see on the way back this cloud cover that's actually low at the moment over the Needles. That actually followed us across the Solent, and for a good part of our crossing back to the mainland we actually had zero visibility beyond, say, half a mile, which meant we couldn't see the island or the mainland for a period.
We just had a little view then of some holes in the cliff face. What were they?
They're actually tunnels, or little gun emplacements that are linked by tunnels to the battery at the top of the cliffs there. I'm not sure, I don't think much of that's actually accessible to the public anymore, but the Needles battery at the top is.
So a little break, time for a sandwich. Tell me you didn't have more ridiculous than banana and cheese or whatever. What did you have this time?
I think this time I had an entire box of muesli bars.
Oh, right. Just so the kids can get their hands on them.
Exactly. Mine, I'm having it.
And again, views spectacular. The sun's beginning to make a break, but just looking at that and the clouds coming over the top. So if you actually stood up there, you'd be stood in the clouds. Yep,
if you were stood on the top of that, you wouldn't see the water. And what you can see here, we can clearly see the island. You can see as we move around to the west there that the Needles is actually starting to disappear. And this is what we can see of Hurst Castle at the start, and now Hurst Castle, the mainland, it's all disappeared, no visibility. And that happened within minutes, didn't it? It was about 8-9 minutes when we look back at the video, between having clear visibility of everything to actually not seeing anything. And even though there is some visibility issues, you're still paddling with sunglasses on. Absolutely. You've got to maintain your street cred in these situations. So yes, another great day out on the water. Every day's a different day coming around the Solent. This was the total distance and where you guys went. How long did it take, and what was the overall kilometres? Time was just under 5 hours, including the stops and exploring a little bit. Distance was just over 30 k's total. It's a great way to spend half a day, really. Absolutely. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to press like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. There will be plenty more videos to come. For now, though, from us, it's time to say goodbye. We wish you all the best on the water and safe paddling.